call to order the City of Kingman meeting of the Municipal Utilities Commission, 5:30 Thursday, June 27th, 2019. Roll call.
Chairman Burdett and Commissioner Yarsh are excused. Vice Chairman Parker?
Here.
Commissioner Here. Commissioner Shuffler?
Here.
Commissioner Van Zandt?
Here.
Commissioner Whitford?
Here.
And Council Liaison Nelson?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so if you'll follow me to the Pledge of Allegiance, let's do Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, any comments to the meetings, any changes?
I make a motion we accept the minutes from last month.
Second.
We've got a motion and we've got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes carry it. Okay. Do we have any consideration of public comments? Those wishing to address the Municipal Utilities Commission, you should not request permission in advance. Action as a result of public comments will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for consideration and discussion at a later time. We don't have anything from the public, right? We're good. Good to go. Okay, number 3, item 3, new business. A review and recommendation for sewer variance from England Holding Company, LLC for Arroyo Ranches, tract 6020. Robert England of England Holding Company, LLC has requested this request for a sewer variance for the subdivision known as Arroyo Ranches, tract 6020, tax parcel 321-11-125. The subdivision is located inside the city limits and is within the water service boundary. It's located south of Wallapai Mountain Road at the end of Canyon Del Vista Drive, accessible via Arroyo Vista Lane. Hey.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Most of you probably remember this from a couple years ago. Give some history going back from what I know, but Mr. England has a property identified as parcel. It's parcel 321-11-125 and also parcel 321-11-126. And he's proposing to subdivision here, a 13-lot single-family home subdivision. And he was here a couple years ago asking for a variance on extension sewer. There's some topographical challenges to this property to provide gravity sewer service. Essentially, the contours are such that gravity sewer service does not work. At that point, Mr. England proposed septic tanks with individual pumps in them that would pump back to a manhole here at the end of Canyon Del Vista Drive. And staff did research of other communities around the state and those types of systems become problematic over time. And even though at the time the proposal was that they would remain private, maintained by the individual property owners, staff found out that in some of the other communities around the state, Pine Top, Shoal area, Payson area, Prescott, that because of problems, lack of maintenance and other issues with the systems, the cities or the county or the public agency involved often gets involved and has to take them over at the city's cost at that point. So staff, another option was a centralized lift station that could be provided at one of the low points. the developer was asked to look at that as an ulterior option. Staff also looked at that and considered that, and there was concerns that a central lift station, which probably could be somehow configured in here, would be for 11 of the lots. 2 of the proposed lots can actually connect gravity service to that existing manhole. The other 11 lots, 11 customers on a manhole, there was just concern about the overall operation and maintenance of a centralized lift station. That any sewer revenues received would exceed the cost for maintenance. Our Public Works wastewater superintendent was concerned with that, was concerned with the maintenance of the lift station. So at that time, two years ago plus, I think it was April of 2017, that the Utility Commission reviewed this and made their recommendation to Council. Staff was okay with allowing septics on 11 of the lots and providing gravity service to 2 lots that can be gravity served to the existing. It went through the Commission. Commission recommended by 4-0 vote. I don't remember which 4 you might have been here at that time, or made that vote at that time. But when it went to Council, it was denied by Council. So Mr. England has come back. There's a couple new people on Council now, and Mr. England has come back, and he is requesting the same variance for the same reasons. He is here in the audience tonight if there are any questions of him. Again, we're talking a 13-lot subdivision with 11 of those lots. The question is having 11 of those lots on septic tanks. It would all be on city water system, so the city would receive water, no sewer revenues for 11 of those lots for the reasons so stated. So, answer any questions if I can, and Mr. England probably can answer questions that I might answer. So.
If I might, just for clarification, when we sent that to City Council the last time, we were talking about alternative systems. I never did quite get the gist of what we were doing with the water. Was it water injection? Was it large fields? Are the lots big enough to put alternative systems on? What kind of septic systems are we talking about?
So some of the lots vary in size and mainly due to topography, but the largest lot is 7 acres, so I would imagine it could handle any type of system there. But I think there's an existing home there that's on just a standard normal septic system, and I don't know, Mr. England would be better answering this if he's had more exploration or information that he could provide, but of the lots that, I believe the smaller lots that go down to half acre are the ones that are close to the existing sewer. So, and I do actually have a map of the subdivision as well. So. The area in question here is this area in white. And what this map here was all these gold lots. These are all lots that are currently served by septic. And namely the Boulder Creek area. And this kind of shows the layout of the 13 lots. Again, I think it's lots 1 and 9 here on the map that are able to connect to the existing manhole, which is somewhere here. And it's these other lots. As far as I know, standard septics. It would be something that if he's not able to do that because of lot configuration or size, he would have to work that out. How he can alternative system.
I wonder if I could ask you one more inside question. When we approved that last time and sent it to City Council, can you tell us what their objections were?
So, as I recall, the main objection was concern about setting precedent for other new subdivisions that might come in and request sewer variances. We did have, sometime around that same time frame, we did have Pasadena State subdivision, which has not yet been developed, and came in and asked for an exception to run sewer, I think a distance of about 2.5 miles to serve their development. And staff was against that, and this commission recommended against that. And that particular developer never took it further, did not take it to council. But the main reason, I think, was the city council, time then and now, I believe, was concerned about getting as many people on sewer as possible. Staff feels the same. That is the policy and utility regulations. We agree with that. We just think that this particular subdivision would be more costly, more problematic to city sort of sewage system.
If a lift station is not feasible, looks like a septic tank is your only option. And I can't see how this subdivision would ever be developed. I mean, the chances are zero if you can't put in a lift station. I mean, what other options are there? So if the city does in fact want to promote growth and infill, I don't know why they can deny this. And I think the setting a precedent is kind of a lame excuse because other people that come in and they have, the option of putting in sewer, I mean, we're not hemmed in the way this subdivision is. And if somebody else came in and they had just about zero chance of developing the area without a septic tanks, I'd say, hey, do it with septic tanks if it's possible. I mean, it's either that or just don't do anything. And I'm always, well, let's do something. I mean, this thing would sit here way beyond my lifetime, nothing ever happened to it. What good does that do us? I mean, if it was solid rock, I mean, there's places in Kingman, obviously, some of these, lava outflows where you can't do anything. Well, I would understand. I mean, you couldn't put a septic tank in those kind of areas, but if in fact you can put a septic tank in, then let's do it.
I have a question. Have you done preliminary testing, Bob, as far as knowing if septic tanks will go in there? There's a lot of grade out there on these lots, so a lot of times
there's lots of big enough. I get a lot of patients. There's a place
that's soft enough to where you can get down.
Yeah, I mean, the procedure is, we have to do some test holes in order to I'll have to do subdivision. So I'll have to do some test holes and have somebody, a sanitation person go
and read the holes.
It has to be presented to the if there's one that you can't put it in, we just won't sell that lot. Get to it. But I think alternative system, I'd put some alternatives in very places. There's all kinds of we're really planning on just putting them.
These probably. Okay, you put enough of them in.
One of the reasons the council turned me down is they said somebody else wants up the hill from me wanted to tie in with the sewer, but that's all solid rock. You figure over this bit back up. It's all solid rock. But what's the chance of somebody developing that? Could be too expensive. That was one of the council's questions that somebody else wanted to develop down. But it's solid rock. I don't think they even went to.
So I have a question. So I guess we need council's approval before it'll go through to get sanitary approval certificate for septic tanks?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this is kind of one of the stumbling blocks. There's certainly more in the process that Mr. England will have to do. He'll have to start with our planning and zoning department on creating. I think the was created, it may be expired, so there's going to be some procedures and steps.
I've got
that-
2 lots that feed gravity sewer. It's not economically feasible to make a subdivision with just 2 lots. By the time you go through all the state of Arizona and everything, it just wouldn't be economically feasible to do that. So you need to have the whole thing to make it feasible. Money, because otherwise, money, if you ask for the lots you've never sell. Would be way
Maybe city council
well, I don't know.
person.
I mean, I'm between a rock and a hard spot.
Right, I understand.
That makes sense. I think, and truthfully, I was not here, but just in the conversations that were going around at that time, there were the concerns of, number one, the precedent, number two, our groundwater, and just the fact that we have so many septics in this. So that's where DEQ obviously will come in and take care of whatever they need to take care of in that situation. So as far as I know, just kind of being on the outside coming in on that one, that's what I'm hearing, that's what it was that they said that the septic situation is a concern in Kingman because we have so many, and then the groundwater issue.
So one of the things that they do is with the septic tank, they have to, you go out and test and you have to show that you've got so much soil beneath the bottom of the ditch of where you're discharging. So it's that distance below the bottom of the ditch that shows that you're going to have cleanup before you hit the groundwater. So understood, as many septic tanks as we do have, then it starts to defer the groundwater, and I don't know, I think there is some indications of that. So this is just 11 more septic tanks that would then be added to that, right? I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it'll go through council, or?
Boy, I haven't figured anything out on that one, so I don't know. You've got 4 of the same people that did the vote before, so that'll be pretty tough on that one. I don't know. It's well worth a try. Honestly and truly, it's well worth a try. But I do think that was the reason, was
I never heard that before.
the precedent in the DEQ. That was what came to
I
me.
never heard the groundwater.
Okay.
They never mentioned anything to me on that. The precedent thing was the only thing that they could even come. We want to set the precedent.
Mm-hmm.
What choice do I have? I have to sit there like Mr. Orr said. I wouldn't do that.
It's a little bit,
Mr. Lingenfelter was concerned about if some further development could be in the rock pile back there, they would feed into this lift station, but that's never going to happen. I mean, it's just solid rock back there. That's one of the things about Jim. I never heard anything about the.
That's just what came to me, that's all I got.
The thing is, they're not going to, Mojave County's not going to approve the septic if they won't work. Besides, this goes right into a wash. Basically, when we did Modified Foothills, that was they were worried about what's the chemical that they're worried about. For septic tanks. Nitrogen, yeah. But we had a hard time. At that time, Mr. Devlin, I don't know if some of you remember Devlin. Anyway, that was one of the problems they had is the nitrogen, because they wanted to do the nitrogen level. But our groundwater water here is like 500 feet. So I don't think it's ever going to do groundwater. And I have city water. I didn't know we were going to run into this problem. There's city water already runs into subdivision. So it's not going to go well or anything.
Isn't this right below that Boulder Creek Estates development, and isn't that all one sewer right there?
Churches.
Yeah, because I drove by, that's what I was thinking. This is pretty.
That's the subdivision that have sewer below this. And right down from there, go down the hill. That's where it's at. Boulder Creek.
It's all crazy.
Is on a mile up.
Okay.
Well, that's part of Boulder Creek there, that
The
that
flood-
gold area.
the gold area.
is
Maybe he was just showing that as an example, but it's a mile away from
Well, yeah,
But it's all-
the main access is, but some of the houses get a little closer, and I mean, I guess the point is, there's other septics in that area. Boulder Creek is all approved. for
But the
septic.
gold is all basically septic area or stuff that's too crazy to do. Yeah.
Greg, did you guys think about the failure of any of these septic tanks? What you're going to do if that happens?
So, according to current policy, and it could certainly change, but the current policy is if they're within 250 feet of a gravity sewer that can be extended, then they have to connect. But the likelihood, because of the topography,
Okay.
so if they fail, they can get a
Then they
permit
can have it
to refurbish
Okay.
or whatever they might need to do.
Well,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to make a motion that we move it on, but you got something you want to?
I just want to get staff's recommendation here. I think from what I'm hearing there, that staff's recommendation is the septic tanks, because you don't want to fool with lift stations. Am I correct there?
Yes. Yep.
Makes sense.
So do we have a motion that we want to make with regards to?
I motion that we pass it, move it to council to vote.
Okay, support staff's decision as far as having septic tanks on the 11 extra lots or the 13. Okay.
I'll
Do you want a
second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes, carry it. Okay, anything else? Okay. Next, we'll go to item B, review and recommendation for request for water service to an unsubdivided parcel at 2400 Airway Avenue. Nathan Cottrell of GEG Applied Sciences has submitted his request for water service to an unsubdivided parcel located at 2400 Airway Avenue. I guess Mr. Cottrell is not here. Are you representing what's going on there too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and you're correct. Mr. Cottrell did call and ask if he needed to come up from Phoenix for this, and we told him this is more of a formality. I mean, we're talking about providing water service to an unsubdivided property. It's about 4.5 acres. It's located on the south side of Airway Avenue. The lines on the north with Kenneth Road and Adams Street on the west and east sides of the property, respectively. They're proposing to build an office building. There's existing water line and sewer line in their way. The water line has more than sufficient pressure for their development, and so this is one where staff is recommending approval with just the, actually no conditions, just I believe they're proposing to extend a fire hydrant on the site, so I recommend that they do that in accordance with our utility regulations and fire department requirements and approval.
Okay. Any motions?
I recommend that it's approved.
Okay.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Say nay. Ayes, carry it. Okay, and C, got a joint council commission workshop Saturday, June 29th, 2019. City Kingdom will hold a joint city council and commission workshop on Saturday, this weekend it looks like, right?
Yes.
June 29th at 8:30 to 12 o'clock afternoon at the Hampton Inn Suite, 1791 Sycamore Avenue. What's this?
Just want to let you know, you're all invited. It's mainly, I have the agenda up here. This is the actual agenda for the the work session, we didn't have this one put out in the packet, but basically the city council they held their first joint council commission session about a year ago. And they decided that it was well received, and they just want to make this an annual thing. So it's one of the main things is kind of looking at the overall strategies and goals for the city, how this commission fits into those, and suggestions and recommendations from this commission to the council. So it's a way for the commission and the council to interact together. I know it's been brought up before in the past, even before the last year's inaugural meeting. So I just wanted to all know the meeting is on Saturday at starting at 8:30, I think.
Well, it sounds like it would be advantageous if somebody was to be there. I'm going to be out of town. Is anybody planning on being there?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was planning, but I'm out of town too.
Okay.
We'll take notes.
I would absolutely love to have someone there. But one of the things that I've only been here 6 months, and Toby and I have talked about this on a couple of occasions, one of the most frustrating things to me is that you guys sit here and listen and take your time out, just like we do, and then we vote down exactly what you've done. And I would really love to hear from you guys. I would appreciate one of you being there to have conversation with us. I really, really, really would. And then on the other side, I would also love to see someone there at the council meetings, because me as the liaison, it doesn't necessarily matter, but when you guys get up to speak and say, hey, this is why we voted the way we voted, it's huge, because it means something. Just so no, please.
Well, I'm sorry. When will this be on the agenda? I'll get up and...
I'll go to that council meeting too.
It's like, I haven't stirred up trouble in a long time. I'll go to back for you, Bob. Well, I do think it's when there's no other options. I mean, what do you do?
There's a call to the public at every council meeting.
Yeah. Is this one going to be on the next council meeting?
This
particular item? No.
We haven't. We will bring it up at the next council meeting, but this particular meeting is actually.
Yeah, no, that's to me separate. Because when we go down to the council and they have the whole meeting and open discussion, I just want to, because I'll clear my calendar to make sure I go.
Yeah, I don't know if
Discuss
there's
this
any
too.
action items that are coming out of this meeting Saturday
Okay.
that will be on
No, nothing from
the next or even future.
No, I'm worried about Mr. England's thing. I'll talk about that.
We're not going to be able to make the July 2nd
Okay.
council meeting, so we're going to shoot for the July 16th.
July 16th, okay. Because ironically, one of the most expensive areas of the U.S., Malibu, is all septic. There's not one sewer tied line in there. And they approve homes and stuff left and right. That's 26 miles of coastline, ranging in price from, I don't know, the smallest lot I saw when I left was $1 million up to $40 million for a lot. Everything on the beach, and you got the ocean right there. That's septic, going all the way up the hill. So, yeah. And then they're complaining about something that's practically impossible to do something on. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll plan that for, it's
Okay.
going to be 6 p.m. in this room on July 16th.
16th.
Well, I think maybe even if we got a blurb out, maybe, I don't know, Kathleen, that might be something that you would do. I mean, it's hard for me to know even week to week kind of, but if you were to let us know if there's something coming up to where we could speak at a council meeting.
I know it seems silly, boy, it was amazing. That anybody.
Yeah, it seems like that would make sense. And so we could speak on that behalf so that they knew why we voted the way that we did. So, yeah, makes sense to me. So maybe just keep us in the loop as far as when that comes up. Okay? July 16th or
July
whatever.
16th.
Sorry. Anything else?
That's all I have for that item.
Okay. We have moving on to number 4, any announcements from any commission members? Take me out or forever hold your
I think I'll just give a little spiel here. There's been some publicity about reinstating the community development fees, and I think the current city manager wasn't here, obviously, last time we went through this process. And it's almost like I see like a replay of last time. The economy was booming. All the contractors were too busy to even say anything about it, to object. And it, it didn't sound like that bad an idea, and then it got passed. And of course, then the economy crashed, and there was a huge outcry, and the contractors banded together, and they were rescinded. So that's just some history on the issue for those of you that weren't here then. But the one way I look at it, and I'm not a home builder, it really has really no impact on me. I'm retired. I don't really should not care one way or the other. But I see all it's really going to do is promote growth outside the Kingman city limits. One thing that is advantageous for Kingman is our affordable housing, and that's one reason people move here from California, is our housing is very affordable. Well, that's just one more reason to make our housing not affordable. I think people will still move here, but now they have all these other options, not only the other incorporated cities, but all the unincorporated areas outside of the city limits. So I just really think Kingman is sort of shooting themselves in the foot. It's one of these things you think you're going to get, whatever the building permit rate is now. I don't know, there's like 2 or 3 or 4 houses a week being built. Yeah. Recession's going to hit. And that is inevitable. That's going to happen. And then you're not going to get nearly the revenues you thought you were. And then when the next expansion comes, people will be looking at Kingman and why should I build there when I can, go down? Well, I live in the county. Believe it or not, I live in the county, and it's not that bad. So I just think it's a bad idea.
Are these fees, because I read the paper and stuff, are they on the thing to pass that they're trying to introduce new? Or add on?
I think we're still having a final discussion.
This will be something we can talk about Saturday, too. Yeah.
Is that going to be talked on Saturday?
I would say yes, because we're probably going to discuss the revenue sources. And then we do have to look at revenue sources.
This is where that tax got appealed.
If I can just add one more thing, I don't want to sound like a knee-jerk builder that's always against this kind of stuff. If I've never built anything in my life and could care less about this kind of thing, I think logically, you come to this area and you got to pay this X dollars for impact fees, and you can go, Mojave Valley, Bullhead, Havasu, outside the city limits, which is, not far from here, and save all that money. And it's just going to encourage development outside of Kingman. So,
the biggest example you can give that was recent was Amazon. They were going to New York, AOC and a bunch of the crazy people pissed them off, and they pulled billions out of New York. California's doing it.
Let me throw this out, too, because I think this has always been kind of one of the things, too, is I think a lot of people, especially in the city of Kingman, sewer rates are super high. People that pay sewer, and I know that you are giving me the...
I don't want to do that. Announcements is announcements, and it's not supposed to be a discussion. So, if you have announcements,
it's just been.
Because the attorney would tell me to advise you that. So,
can we follow those guidelines and ask for a discussion next time? Can we follow those guidelines? Ask for a discussion to be sent from City Council. Also, maybe appoint, I don't know what you call it, but a liaison from this board to speak at the City Council, and actually with the authority and the backing of all of the board. What I'm really asking is to put that on the agenda for 2 items.
On the Utility Commission agenda?
Yes. One is to report to City Council on our feelings for it, and secondly, appoint someone to speak at the City Council meeting.
Bring those 2 items up.
Can we do that?
appoint to speak at the city council meeting on a
If
particular
one of us-
subject,
If
or?
one of us was here that wanted to report on the meeting,
I think you can just show up to the meeting and report.
okay, but we can designate somebody among
I think
ourselves.
that you can work out amongst
And
yourselves.
the primary thing is, can we discuss utility and construction costs and our opinion to be sent to city council on some of the things that they may look at?
So, and we could agendize something to that effect, and that could include the development impact fees, which at this point, there's only really low-level discussions on those. Nothing has gone through the council, other than it was discussed, I think, at the budget session, that this,
Anything further.
yeah.
Would that be where the discussion comes up? Should Shane come with his?
Saturday would be a perfect spate.
I think that
Yeah,
would
maybe
be,
the third.
Yeah.
that's why my assumption is that's why we're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my first one also, but that would be my
But
assumption.
it's there to talk about strategic planning and council goals and citizen goals, and so I think it fits right in.
Yeah.
Can I give my opinion then with the utilities?
Well,
Or should I talk separately?
Should do it after the meeting.
why don't we put something on the agenda? Why don't we talk about it Saturday? You can talk to Shane about your opinion.
Well, after he fills the meeting, we can talk, and that can go to the meeting.
We can have an agenda at the next
We're not going to
utility.
get in trouble for talking though afterwards.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes into my head.
That-
Is that legal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to violate any rules, just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it?
Okay, so we rolled around with a lot of stuff. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do we want to make a motion, put this on the agenda?
Yeah, I think we have to do that.
Do we have to have a motion?
Okay, so
You don't,
you can just, do you need a motion for that?
we don't need a motion?
No, I wasn't on it. Because we do it, we have your requests on the council meetings, we're always requesting. And put those on. So, I think you're okay.
So we're okay, so we don't have to make a
That's
motion?
my humble opinion here, I am, sorry.
I was going to say, we can make a
We
motion.
can make a motion, just to make
Make a
sure.
motion, that one we're safe.
Make it happen.
Because we just want to discuss it so that we're all legal and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I move motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, we're adjourned.